Hey, welcome back, Better Call Saul fans. I was just playing Grand Theft Auto and I said to myself, Scott, you really need to make another YouTube video. So here I am. Speaking of Grand Theft Auto, I don't know if you guys saw Inside the Gilliverse, hosted by a guy named Eric. He had an interview with Peter Gould, Vince Gilligan last Friday. Go check it out if you haven't seen it. It's really interesting. Peter and Vince are always, great to listen to. And what they said was they tried to get Breaking Bad to get turned into a video game, and they reached out to the Grand Theft Auto people, which I think is Rockstar, and it just didn't go anywhere. And so it doesn't look like that's ever going to happen, but boy, I would absolutely love to play that video game, to be Walt, to be Mike, to have Saul give you missions, all that kind of stuff. Man, I absolutely would have loved that. And if I was like a billionaire, if I was like Elon Musk or Bill Gates, I would literally just pay like Vince and Peter like $5 million each, and then pay Rockstar $5 million each, and I would just say, hey, figure this out because I want to play this game. But I'm not a billionaire, so that's not going to happen, unfortunately. Anyways, today I wanted to talk about what is Saul Goodman going to do next. I've been racking my brain in terms of, what options does he really have on the table? So I've got 11 options, 11 predictions about what his next steps could be. Obviously, these are not spoilers. I have not looked for spoilers. I don't listen to spoilers. I run away if I think anyone's going to spoil anything for me. So if you've got predictions, put them down in the comments below. If you have spoilers, please keep that to yourself until we all see the episode on Monday. Okay, and before we get started, let me pull up some quotes here just to give us all the proper context. I have quotes from Bob Odenkirk as well as Peter Gould on the ending and like what's going to happen next. So if you don't want to hear their thoughts on about what's going to happen next, please do not watch this video. If you have not watched Better Call Saul up to season 6 episode 12, do not watch this video as well. Okay, you've been warned. Let's go into the comments, and I'll put this picture up on the screen. So this is Bob in an interview where he said he reads comments, and he would say about 1 out of every 9 people gets it dead right in terms of what's going to happen next and how the show's going to end. 1 out of 9 people get it dead right, but I'm not going to say which one. So that's pretty interesting that some people out there are guessing it. Obviously not a lot of people, but 1 in 9. That's not bad odds. Then the second quote that I want to share with you, I shared this in a video a couple days ago, but this is from Peter Gould, where he says, I have to say, what's happening in these last few episodes, the way it's structured and what it's about, is very different from any TV show that I am aware of. That is extremely interesting. So it sounds like they're going in a unique road. And then let's go to the last Peter Gould quote that I have for us. Here it is. And this is him. I forget where this quote was from, but he says, hopefully the audience will go along with it because it's not like anything I've seen before. That's a key sentence. It's not like anything I've seen before. It's a pretty unusual way to end a TV series. So when I hear those quotes, any ending of a TV series that you really like, I think it's a safe assumption that, Peter Gould and Vince Gilligan watch a lot of TV. They love, the classics. So if you've seen an ending on a TV show, I think it's pretty safe to say that we're not going to get that same ending here on Better Call Saul. So that's just my, things that I'm thinking about as we think about what Saul's going to do next and how this is all going to wrap up. So I've got 11 things for us. Let's jump into it. And actually, I do want to say some of these I'm going to go through really quickly. Others I'm going to spend more time on them. If you think I missed anything, there's other options out there in the world. Please put them in the comments down below. So number 1, what could Gene possibly do next? I think the first thing he could do is he can go on the run for a while, but he's eventually going to get caught, and then he will end up in jail. The second option that he has is he could go on the run, and then he could actually get away with it. Maybe he has a life on the run, and that's how it ends. I don't think so, but that's a plausible, it's out there in the list of options that we have. I do want to say, before we get further into this, that, Marion calls the life alert, and the police are coming coming to Marion's home. To my knowledge, Marion does not know where Gene lives, and I don't even think Jeff the cab driver knows where Gene lives, because remember, I think in season 4 or 5, when Jeff dropped off Gene, Gene had him stop a few blocks or a few hundred yards away from where Gene actually lived. If you remember, go back and look at that scene. Gene has to walk a little bit to get to his house. So I don't think they know where Gene lives. So my point is, Gene leaves the house after Marion calls the police on him. He can go back to his house and he can get the much talked about diamonds. He can get some clothes. He can get his to-go bag, or whatever criminals use. I think Mike had one, a go bag, and then he can get all that stuff, throw it in the car, and off he goes. And I think he has enough time to do that before the police are able to get to his house, because the police are going to have to go to Marion's house first. Then they're going to, call police to Gene's house. So I think he has enough time to get some stuff before he goes on the run, if that's what he decides to do. The third option I have for Gene is that he turns himself in willingly. Maybe he goes home and he thinks it over, and he just waits for the police to arrive while he's sitting in his sofa watching some Saul Goodman commercials. I don't think that's going to happen either, but it's an option. The fourth option that I have is that he goes actually back to Albuquerque, and he goes to the same courthouse where all of this really started, the same courthouse that Kim was at last week when she gave the affidavit about what happened with Howard, and Gene turns himself in that courthouse, and maybe Suzanne Erickson makes a little cameo. Suzanne Erickson, if you remember, as if I'm remembering correctly, was not in Breaking Bad, but she was in El Camino, and she was obviously in Better Call Saul. She was also in the American Greed 10-minute little documentary that you definitely need to watch if you have not seen it. I think it's canon, and it's really entertaining. So maybe Suzanne Erickson gets a role in this last episode. Something to think about. Maybe Gene confesses to her, because she came up, I think, in this season, in episode 2 or 3, telling Kim that she was basically onto them, especially onto Jimmy McGill. The fifth option that I have, and I don't think this will happen either, but it's an option. Gene confesses to and reflects on all of his crimes. So if he were to turn himself in, maybe we would get a scene of him admitting to every single thing that he's done, and he gets a real moment where he acknowledges all of it. And he really just takes it all in, which, again, up to season 6, episode 12, Gene has not done any kind of reflecting on his life and his actions. He's completely avoided that throughout the entirety of the series. So it would be nice to see him do that. But here's a really, really big problem with that theory. It's already been done. I don't want to say the name of the show. If you've seen the show, you know exactly what I'm talking about, but I am not going to say the name of the show, because if you ever watch it, I do not want to spoil this glorious end. But there's a great show that went out with this ending where the main character confessed to all of his crimes. And Peter Gould, as I just showed you in those quotes, has said that this ending is unique and it's not like anything he's ever seen done before. So I really don't think this will happen unless Peter Gould had a big brain fart, basically. The sixth option that I have for Gene is that he gets arrested somehow and he goes in front of a jury, stands trial in front of a jury, and then he gets convicted. And then he obviously will end up in jail there. And maybe we'll see some kind of jury proceedings, but I mean, I don't know how long we have, maybe 60 minutes, maybe 70 minutes. I haven't seen the exact time clock on the remaining episode, but I don't know if we have enough time to see any jury proceedings and to see an actual conviction there. The seventh option that we have is that he does go in front of a jury, but he somehow gets acquitted, either because Kim comes back to the law. And again, remember that teaser that they gave us. If you don't watch any of the teasers that they gave us in the mid-season break, go ahead and fast forward, I don't know, like a minute, okay? So go ahead and fast forward a minute if you don't want to hear me reference a teaser that was in the mid-season break. Ready, set, go. Okay, remember the teaser where Kim was giving her oath to become a lawyer? We have not seen that played out on the show yet. So is that a flashback that maybe we're going to get in this next episode? Is it a flashback to when Kim joined became a lawyer, but we're not going to see it in any episodes, but it was just a little teaser, which they have done before. I think on El Camino they did that. They played a teaser where it never actually aired in the movie. Or is Kim going to, reinstate herself and somehow join the New Mexico Bar Association again to defend Gene? Don't think that'll happen, but it's an option. The other person who could defend Gene is Bill Oakley, who is, not gay, but he is now a public he's a defense attorney. Excuse me. He's now a defense attorney. He's no longer on the prosecution side. Or the last option we have, I guess there might be more options, but another option we have is Saul might actually represent himself in court, and his last scheme, his last act as a lawyer is to get himself acquitted. The eighth option that I have, this is really dark. Sorry for even bringing this up, but what if Gene commits suicide? What if he actually does do all the reflecting on his life? What if he does really take it all in and he says to himself, what have I become? I don't even deserve to live. And then he takes his own life. I actually predicted this to a friend earlier this season. Shout out to Pete, but he thought it was too dark, which it really is extremely dark. But it does seem like the show is taking us to a pretty dark place. So could Gene look at his options of a life on the run or a life behind bars? And he says, you know what, I'd rather just end it all right now on my own terms. The ninth option that Gene might have is he will call Ed the Disappearer again and get a new identity. I know Ed has passed away, Robert Forrester, rest in peace. So maybe they just show Gene's side of this phone call. Maybe his business associate, which, we don't even know if he has one, but maybe someone took over the company. There might be some creative way where they can finagle this without, Robert obviously playing that role and being a voice on the other end of the phone. So that's again, another slim possibility, but it's out there. The 10th option that I have for Gene is that he returns to Albuquerque for the specific purpose of rescuing Kim from her legal troubles. Now, this is another theory that I've seen floated around, and it's really not a bad one. But the problem I have with this one is that Kim has said in the past, "You don't save me, I save me." At least that was the old Kim Wexler that we knew and loved. She did not want anyone to try and save her in her life situation. But with the new Kim Wexler that we have that really doesn't like to make decisions, would she be okay with Gene taking the fall for her and for her role in the Howard scheme? It does make sense that Gene would want to do this for Kim, in my opinion, because she is basically the only person or thing that he really cares about in this world anymore. Everything else that he's had, that he's cherished, is basically gone. And then the 11th one, I'm sorry, this is a stupid one, but what if Gene rescues Jeff from jail and then they go live on the run forever as criminal masterminds? That would be a great new spin-off, and then we can just follow their escapades from now until the end of time. So again, these are 11 different things that might happen. A lot of these are really low probability events, but I would love to hear what you think is in the, options that Peter Gould and Vince Gilligan have at their disposal. What do you think Gene's going to do? How's this all going to end? Let me know in the comment section down below. Please like and subscribe if you like this video, and I will see you next time. Bye.
It's like Christmas out there.